MLS's roar isn't just star-studded signings, it's a silent revolution etched in concrete and turf. Forget flashy transfers. The real game-changer is the stadium boom. These arenas aren't just venues, they're catalysts, reshaping the league's future. Curious how stadiums are truly transforming MLS? Let's dive in. Let's be clear though, the reason Messi, Suarez, Beckham and Ibrahimovic all came to play in the US is not because of their stadiums. That's not why most soccer players choose to join any particular league or club. But the growing number of proper, high-quality facilities across MLS reflect how America's standout soccer competition is moving out of its initial awkward phase and into a new era. The sport is changing on the other side of the Atlantic and slowly making its way into mainstream popularity. If you don't already know, Major League Soccer looks a lot different now than when it first started. Today, it resembles the biggest sport in the world, the same sport you see in every other country. But that's not how the league began. Between the downward counting clock, the fact that there were no draws, along with its odd alternative to penalty kicks, the league demonstrated soccer as an entirely different sport. Clearly, there was an American spin on the game in order to target people who knew very little about soccer. What made it even more American was that pretty much every team played in a massive stadium meant for gridiron football. Part and parcel of clubs playing in these arenas was due to convenience, since the infrastructure for soccer wasn't valued enough to be built, especially for a brand new league that wasn't anywhere close to turning a profit. This reliance on football stadiums wasn't a new idea, as it was the go-to plan during the 70s and 80s by other soccer leagues like the NASL. These stadiums had way too many seats and lacked the adequate width for soccer fields. Plus, many of them featured artificial turf, which wasn't approved by FIFA at the time for international soccer. So massive arenas like Giant Stadium, Mile High, and the Cotton Bowl hosted soccer matches that had teams playing in front of minimal crowds in cities that weren't accustomed to being immersed in the sport. This made for a lackluster product for those watching on TV, and even worse for fans sitting deep in the stands. It simply wasn't the proper experience for the sport. Similar to baseball, less is more. Like how Oakland Coliseum is too big for the Athletics, an atmosphere is key to all sports, and Major League Soccer was never going to sell 70,000 seats just to make it all worth it. So with experimental rules and poor spectator conditions, traditional soccer fans were immediately alienated by the league, all while it was failing to obtain new fans. Teams came and went, plus Major League Soccer found itself in a poor financial position. It lost over $250 million between 1996 and 2001. Then, Don Garber stepped in, and under his leadership, the league shifted its approach, abandoning its efforts to Americanize the world's game by adopting practices commonly observed internationally. This included having Major League Soccer structured around the same rules and regulations as other top leagues. So the clock countdown was scrapped, and draws were allowed. But more importantly, Garber wanted the league to mold its infrastructure to soccer, and pretty much overnight, MLS pledged to build more soccer-specific stadiums in the hopes that it would help sustain the organization financially. Looking back to MLS's early history, only 1 of 10 clubs had a stadium that was meant for soccer. That was the Columbus Crew. The other 9 teams played in either NFL or college football stadiums. However, the ratio between teams playing in soccer-specific stadiums and those that weren't began to shift after Garber's appointment. Between 2003 and 2008, 6 new stadiums that were meant for soccer were constructed across the league. Home Depot Center in Los Angeles, Pizza Hut Park in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Toyota Park in Chicago, Toronto's BMO Field, Dick's Sporting Goods Park near Denver, and Rio Tinto Stadium in Salt Lake City. Most of these stadiums relied heavily on public funding to be built, and it was far away from a smooth process. But within the span of just 5 years, over half of Major League Soccer teams were playing in stadiums that were meant to host the world's game. The 2000s marked a turning point for MLS, with dedicated soccer stadiums becoming a key driver of growth. LA Galaxy's profitability in 2003, followed by FC Dallas's success in 2005, highlighted the financial benefits of these venues. Notably, from 2006 to 2009, profitable clubs were predominantly those with proper stadiums. This stadium infrastructure facilitated a surge in ticket sales, particularly following the introduction of the designated player rule, which brought international stars like David Beckham to the league. Fans experienced a vastly improved atmosphere in these new stadiums, with closer views and a more authentic soccer experience. Moreover, these new stadiums empowered teams with ownership of their facilities, enabling them to control revenue streams such as concessions, parking, and naming rights. This increased financial control boosted the value of MLS teams and the league as a whole, attracting more investors and leading to league expansion. The combination of new franchises, soccer-specific stadiums, and the influx of recognizable European players significantly enhanced the league's legitimacy. By the early 2010s, MLS had transformed from its initial struggling phase to a more established and respected league, demonstrating the crucial role of stadium infrastructure in its development. Now, let's be clear, this wasn't a league competing for the best players in the world, but one that was making a name for itself, whether to display North American talent or to parade former superstars across the continent. Regardless, it was something people were willing to watch, talk about, and discover. In 2010, with just 16 teams, MLS remained relatively small compared to the big four sports across the continent. However, the soccer-specific stadiums, which took up 2/3 of the league's venues, consistently proved their value as investments. Upon relocating to these dedicated facilities, several teams saw their season ticket sales double. With this return, other major markets in the United States and Canada sought entry into the league. In order to do so, city officials and potential owners needed to work with Garber and the organization he turned around. Pay your expansion fees and build a stadium that's meant for soccer. There were definitely other conditions, but these two were pretty important to the league. It's worth noting, however, that in terms of stadiums, there has been some leniency taken on by the league. This may include allowing established clubs to move into NFL stadiums in order to prevent going under, sanctioning teams to play in league-approved arenas that can accommodate soccer games, or letting teams play elsewhere while an appropriate venue is being planned. These examples, though, are outliers, and as time went on, the percentage of stadiums that were meant for soccer only increased while the league became more successful. After 2010, Major League Soccer continued to expand at its usual rate. It planted its flag in 2 more Canadian markets, in Montreal and Vancouver, and added to the Pacific Northwest region by integrating Portland into the mix. But from 2015 onwards, expansion went to a whole different level. The following 8 years saw 11 teams join the league. Some are in America's biggest metro centers like Atlanta, LA, and New York, and others in mid-sized cities like St. Louis, Cincinnati, and Nashville. By the time of making this video, Major League Soccer currently has 29 teams, with San Diego set to be number 30. And among the 11 teams that joined the league since 2015, 8 of them have had privately owned stadiums built for the sole purpose of hosting a team in Major League Soccer. Today, the league currently sits in stark contrast from where it began, with football stadiums, less empty seats made for better energy around the stadium. And despite the drop-off in capacity, MLS's attendance figures have grown steadily since 2010. MLS's growth, fueled by rising player quality, boosts ticket and merchandise sales. While the 2026 World Cup is coming, the surge in soccer-specific stadiums isn't just for that. Most World Cup venues are NFL stadiums, proving MLS's stadium boom is for its own long-term growth. This shows strong market confidence in the league. While MLS has a young, promising audience, catching up to European or South American giants is a challenge. Players often arrive past their prime, and soccer culture differs. However, MLS's focus on sustainability gives it a unique edge. MLS prioritizes financial stability through single-entity ownership, salary caps, and stadium control, unlike Europe's volatile leagues. European clubs face financial struggles due to high wages, pandemic impacts, and fluctuating transfer fees. Promotion and relegation add to the risk. Even top European clubs seek stability via initiatives like the Super League. This contrast highlights Europe's financial uncertainty compared to MLS's controlled, investor-friendly model. MLS offers a safer investment environment, while European soccer operates with higher financial risks and rewards. European soccer struggles with financially weak clubs and aging stadiums. Unlike the stable Premier League, this instability could threaten the continent's soccer dominance. MLS, with its financial security and growth potential, might attract top players in the future. America's investment power, combined with MLS's focus on stability, could shift global soccer's balance. For now, MLS focuses on its growth. Its new soccer-specific stadiums are driving fan engagement, revealing the sport's rising potential in North America. Where do you think soccer's ceiling is within North America? Let me know what you think in the comments section below. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe as it goes a long way.